The Ethiopian Civil War, a terrible fight that hurt the Tigray region and made the Horn of Africa unstable, started in November 2020. Problems had been brewing for years between the Ethiopian government, led by Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, and the Tigray People's Liberation Front, or TPLF, the group in charge of Tigray. The TPLF had run Ethiopian politics for many years before Abiy became prime minister in 2018. Abiy's changes in taking more control were seen as dangerous by the TPLF, making things worse quickly. The war started when the TPLF attacked Ethiopian army bases in Tigray. The TPLF said it was defending itself from a planned attack. The Ethiopian government responded by sending soldiers into Tigray, starting a big war. The fighting grew quickly, pulling in nearby Eritrea to help the Ethiopian government. Eritrea and the TPLF had been enemies for a long time, since the Eritrean-Ethiopian War from 1998 to 2000. Eritrean soldiers, known for being harsh, joined the fight, making it even more violent and complicated. At first, the Ethiopian and Eritrean armies took control of a lot of land quickly, but then, the war became a long, hard fight with terrible things happening to regular people, many forced to leave their homes, and a huge emergency with not enough food and other things people need. Other countries watched, worried that the fighting could spread through the Horn of Africa. To understand the Tigray War, you need to know the important people involved. The main problem is the fight between Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed and the TPLF leaders, especially Debretsion Gebre-Michael. Abiy Ahmed, once praised for making peace with Eritrea, became controversial because of the war in Tigray. His government's actions, like stopping aid from getting to Tigray, have been criticized a lot as a bad tactic of war. Debretsion Gebre-Michael, a longtime TPLF leader, became a symbol of Tigrayan resistance. He said Abiy's government was trying to get rid of certain groups of people and promised to keep fighting until Tigray could govern itself. Eritrean President Isaias Afwerki made things worse. An enemy of the TPLF for a long time, Afwerki saw the war as a chance to defeat his enemies and make Eritrea more powerful in the area. His soldiers have been accused of some of the worst acts of violence in the war, making peace even harder. Other groups also made the fighting worse. Amhara militias, wanting to take land during the chaos, fought with Tigrayan forces. These groups, often focused on their own ethnic group, showed how divided Ethiopian society had become. Other countries, wanting peace but also upset about the violence, struggled to find a good way to help. The Tigray War has hurt so many people. The fighting has caused a huge emergency with terrible violence, lots of people forced from their homes and not enough food. The UN thinks hundreds of thousands of people, mostly regular people, have died in the fighting. Millions of people have had to leave their homes. Over 2 million people are now living somewhere else in Ethiopia, and tens of thousands have gone to Sudan to escape the violence. This has made it harder for aid groups to help people in a dangerous place. Making things even worse, both sides have used starvation as a weapon. They have stopped aid, destroyed crops, and stolen farm animals, making the food situation even worse. The UN has said that millions of people don't have enough food, and children are especially at risk of getting sick. Hospitals and clinics in Tigray, once very good, have been destroyed. There aren't enough medical supplies and doctors and nurses have left. The COVID-19 pandemic has made things even worse, increasing the risk of other diseases. Even with all the bad things happening in Tigray, there has been some hope for peace. In November 2022, after 2 years of terrible fighting, the Ethiopian government and the TPLF signed an agreement in Pretoria. The agreement, organized by the African Union, said the fighting should stop, Tigrayan soldiers should give up their weapons, and important services like hospitals and schools should open again in Tigray. But making peace has been hard. The agreement has been slow to work. There is still some fighting, and important problems like Eritrean soldiers still being in Tigray and getting help to people in need haven't been fixed. Other countries, while happy about the agreement, are worried that no one will be held responsible for the bad things that happened during the war. The International Criminal Court, or ICC, is investigating war crimes in Tigray, but the Ethiopian government doesn't want them to. As of December 2024, things in Tigray are still uncertain. While the big fighting has stopped, there is still some violence, and the emergency isn't over. The political and ethnic problems that caused the war are still there, making it hard to know if there will be lasting peace. Other countries have the difficult job of helping with the peace agreement, making sure people responsible for crimes are held accountable, and fixing the problems that started the war so it doesn't happen again. The future of Tigray and the Horn of Africa is uncertain.